Going? Right.
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to officially call this work session of the Mayor and Council to order. If everyone please rise for a moment of silent prayer and or reflection as we think about the impending nor'easter that is traveling across the country. So our thoughts are with anyone who's in its path and with the first responders. Please salute the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please note fire exits behind you into the main hallway. To my right, your left, to the courtroom hallway.
And the windows can open for you to jump out.
Yes, if anyone has to jump out the window, right behind me. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall. Notices have been sent to the Record and the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people, within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. At this time, I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilman Sanders. Here. Councilman Sharkey Hurley.
Present.
Council President Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grotsky.
Here.
Councilman Seymour.
Here.
Councilwoman Grant.
Here.
Mayor Petrino.
Here. Okay. On deck tonight, I'll be doing a proclamation for Women's History Month. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas, Congress in 1987 designated the month of March as Women's History Month. And whereas every year since then, the President of the United States has issued a Women's History Month proclamation. And whereas throughout our history, despite hardship, exclusion, and discrimination, women have strived and sacrificed for equity and equality in communities across our country and have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life of our community and the nation. And whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the nation by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force of the nation. And whereas American women are particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our nation. And whereas American women have always served to defend our freedom and our country courageously in the military and at home and abroad. And whereas American women serve as police officers, firefighters, emergency medical technicians, and in all capacities that work to protect life, property, health, and safety of residents and communities across our nation. And whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage or equal opportunity, but also have contributed significantly to all other major movements to create a more fair, equal, and just society for all. And whereas this Women's History Month, as we reflect on the achievements of American women across the centuries and pay tribute to the pioneers who have paved the way, let us recommit to the fight and help realize the deeply American vision of a more equal society, and carry forward the mission of ensuring our daughters have the same opportunities as our sons. Now therefore I, Michael Petrino, Mayor of the Borough of New Milford, do hereby proclaim March 2023 as Women's History Month in New Milford, and urge all residents and businesses to appropriately honor the significant contributions, achievements, and impact women have had and continue to make in our great country and our great community. I'd like to present this to the Women's Club, and I know, Hetty, you're going to be seeing them.
I will be seeing them,
If
yes.
you could please give that to them on behalf
Be
of
happy
us.
to. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Unfinished business. May I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the February 27th, 2023 public and closed session meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have an ordinance adoption. It would be ordinance 2023:12, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of Milford entitled Administration to repeal Section 2-54A entitled Health Benefits for Retirees.
So this repeals an ordinance that is inconsistent with our collective bargaining agreements and New Jersey state law. At this time, I would ask for a motion to open up to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any comments on this ordinance, now would be your opportunity. Seeing that there is no members of the public present, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would ask for a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading.
Motion. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Sam Houston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
Okay, this ordinance is so adopted. Under new business, we have a few ordinance introductions tonight. The first one would be ordinance 2023:13, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $172,038 for the installation of lighting at the Prospect Park basketball courts in by and for the Borough of Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a county grant and from the Open Space Trust Fund of the borough.
Yeah, so this is lights at Prospect Park, the basketball courts. We received a grant of $87,038, and we will be paying the difference. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Sam Houston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing on this ordinance will be at our March 27th public meeting. The next introduction tonight is 2023:14, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
Bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new, additional, or replacement equipment and machinery, new information technology equipment, and new communication and signal systems equipment in by and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $236,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
That sounds like a Dr. Seuss book right there.
Yeah.
So this is our 2023 all-purpose capital expenditure bond. It includes things like our road paving program, fixing the Jackson Street pump house, equipment for the fire department, and metal shed for the rescue boat at Fire Company Number 2.
Is there an amount attached to this?
Yeah, $236,000.
Why isn't that in the
It is.
second? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Never mind.
Well, there's one other thing I wanted to point out.
Server for the
The server for the Borough Hall and something else in Company 1 and 2.
Cleaning.
It was the ventilation system.
yes. And the gear washer.
Gear washer. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Sam Houston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Saraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki. Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing on this ordinance will also be at our March 27th public session meeting. Okay, next up is 2023:15, and the clerk has the opportunity. I would ask you to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of a portion of Lot 7 in Block 1304 as shown on the tax map of the Borough of New Milford pursuant to NJSA 40A:12-14.
Okay, this is for a 2-year lease for the building that was formerly housed the New Milford Volunteer Ambulance Corps to Holy Name Hospital, Holy Name Medical Center.
Holy Name Medical Center for emergency service purposes.
Holy Name Medical Center for emergency service purposes. May I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading? May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Sam Houston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
The public hearing for this ordinance will also be at our March 27th public meeting. The final one tonight is 2023:16, and when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Administration to revise Section 2-20 entitled Fire Department.
So this will make our ordinance, rules and regulations of the fire department consistent with the New Jersey State Firemen's Association related to qualifications for membership. May I get a motion to introduce on its first reading?
So moved. Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Sam Houston.
Yes.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Council President Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grodzki.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Grant.
Yes.
This too, the public hearing will be at our March 27th meeting. Okay. Moving on to item number 1 is EV charging stations mayor. So our Clean Communities Coordinator has been doing research, and he found out that there are companies out there that will install charging stations in boroughs at no cost, and it's kind of like a revenue sharing situation where they would provide the borough with 10% of their income. The borough would get paid each month. The company would be responsible for things like installation, making sure everything's good with it, any type of repairs, set the fee for the electricity. Borough responsibilities would include things like making sure it was snowplowed if it snows, and make sure the proper striping is painted on the spots by the charging stations. We're looking for around 4 charging stations to be put at multiple locations in the town. We're thinking Borough Hall parking lot, and we're thinking at Knights Field. The borough would provide the electricity to those stations. So
We also talked about possibly the library.
possibly the library as well.
You said something that they would determine the amount that would be charged. I thought our ordinance said that we
We may have to
revise it, because we did that a while ago.
It was sort of like a placeholder because we needed the ordinance.
don't we want to keep tabs on it to make sure that it doesn't become exorbitant? I mean, if you just give them carte blanche to set a price, are there any guidelines for price setting?
I don't know what the rate is, the current rate of, but
To the point.
I'm sure we can craft in the RFP, which is what we're talking about. We have to send out a request for proposal and have people bid on it. I'm sure we could put a section in of what, has to be within some sort of standard rate exchange.
And there should be some sort of constraint
Right.
on the company.
design of the units.
Well,
Yeah, because Lisa mentioned about her research. Some of them are gigantic.
so that they fit into the streetscape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also,
If they charged too much, no one would use them. They would make no money. Correct?
right, but we've stuck with them for a period of time, and
Right.
we do have some ordinance constraints. My thought was in the RFP, before we go to RFP, we look to what's fair and customary rate, standard in the industry. They may say, I'm 25 cents, they're 30 cents, whatever. That's up to us based upon the lowest responsible bidder on the proposal.
Well,
Size I didn't think about.
The other thing is, a lot of times when we're doing something that's new to us, we look to other towns who have already put out RFPs. So I'm going to contact a few that I'm aware of to ask them if they'll share their RFP. And, Kevin and I can take a look at that and and see if there's anything we need to adjust or add.
As I recall, part of the discussion regarding the ordinance had to do with making sure that we didn't overcharge residents and that we kept it, that we weren't out to make money on this. And so, yes, right, self-sustaining. That's a good way to put it. And so we just have to make sure that we don't.
I remember the complications. We kept talking about how we would receive the money, how we would account for it. This situation like this takes that
That's
away.
Yeah.
Something we don't have to worry about.
But we can't let them gouge.
No.
the
No,
user.
definitely not.
So, but we wouldn't do that. We would have some controlling language on there. And I don't know, because I haven't looked up this portion of it, whether there's any standard. I mean, the state may say you can charge no more than X.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't do that for gas, at least right now, so.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
think
Do you have
it's
any idea,
possible.
well, yeah, except that most of the gas stations are within a range. Do you have any idea how many towns in Bergen County actually have this arrangement?
someone, Tenafly.
Tenafly was in the list of people.
Oradell has them.
But do they have this arrangement?
Oh,
Or
this
arrangement?
arrangement? No,
Tenafly did it through this.
I don't know.
That's the only one on this list that's in Bergen County. Asbury Park, Jersey City, Long Branch, Mount Olive, Bradley Beach, Trenton.
Still relatively new.
Well, that's just for this type of
Right.
rev share. There's charging stations all over, especially in southern part. Shore region, they're all over the place.
Can you clarify the statement you made about the borough providing the electricity?
Yeah, it's hooked into our power.
So are we going to charge? So so we're not going to pay for the electricity and then they're going to,
No, I think we would pay the electricity. We would get a 10% rev share, and we get the charging stations installed for free.
So the rev share would presumably cover our
cover the,
expense.
so the
Could
question is,
residents
Right. No, residents would be charged.
So
We have to provide the electric
They-
that's being sold.
Right.
Yes.
They have to
But I think
Pay
there'll be a
for it.
meter on there by this so-called company monitoring the electric as to what they're charging, and 10% goes to.
So how are the residents charged? I mean, are they,
Think a credit
probably have
card.
to put a credit card or debit card.
You swipe.
and oftentimes what they do is they have, systems will have memberships so that you can go use stations.
Station to
And they'll
station?
give like member discounts when you, if you use the same stations in different regional areas. So,
Are you sure we're paying for the electricity and not the company who's putting this in?
I'm pretty sure we're providing the electric.
Because
Is that,
I thought that's what Vince's email said, but I could be wrong about that.
that's an additional cost to the borough.
is that
We're
something,
getting 10% back, which probably won't cover our cost for the energy, but we're getting the stations, so,
That's,
Yeah, but you
the
get the-
stations are the biggest cost.
yes.
But when do you break even?
I mean,
Well, you could go in a different direction where we just put RFP out and we see, this may not be the only company that responds, typically it's not. And, we can try to be more broad and see what comes in, but then you have a short amount of time to make your award. So we need a better handle on what we're looking for.
what
As
we,
far as electric service, it says Green Spot is responsible if a major upgrade is required, like a new electrical service. Green Spot may propose options to the client. Electric cost responsibility. Depending on the situation, electricity costs will either be reimbursed to the client or paid directly to the power utility by Green Spot, so we're not responsible.
oh,
Okay.
that's good. I
That's based upon this one company's.
Well, let's make sure that we include that in our
Yes.
RFP.
And when will we decide about location?
I think we would have to do that for the.
Yeah, before the RFP goes out, you'd have to, because it may be problematic to install at the library versus at, by the generator that's been installed over by Knights Field versus somewhere else.
I mean, I'm just gonna voice my
And that's
opinion
hypothetically.
about the Borough Hall location, because frankly, every time we turn around, there are more spots being lost to PD equipment, OEM equipment, and if we take more spots, for this, I just don't see that it would be right. It's like we're accumulating more crap that's taking up our spaces.
The thing is, you want to put it in places where people will get the most benefit from it.
Except the parking lot.
Let's put it in the police parking lot, okay?
And we're talking about putting in the
And maybe
council
then,
spaces.
maybe then that electric fleet that we have going on could be using it. Oh, whoops.
What about the American Legion lot or someplace like that where
We want it, you want it.
Not visible
They won't
enough.
really use it.
Yeah, they won't.
Right, Knightsfield is hooked up for it. That was part of
I remember
the whole
that,
thing.
yes, I know that.
High
I
traffic
think the
kindergarten,
library-
ShopRite field, library has the
Good.
field, and the Borough Hall has the field. So those are the three
Then
locations.
I think the police are gonna have to get their stuff in behind the fence. They're overflowing into our
I'm a
parking
big
lot.
fan of that.
That's a separate conversation.
I don't think
And-
so.
And the other thing to keep in mind
I
is
don't
there's
know.
got
I
to
think
be
it's something that needs
a
to be.
proximity to a generator spot. So, that may dictate where it has to go on those locations.
And the closer, the cheaper it is for the hookup.
Or stop buying more things. If you can house them.
Yeah, the location for the charging station, the closer you are to the generator, the least, yeah, because the installation costs are have to tear up.
Right.
But, is the borough, do you have plans for, electric vehicles in the future? Is there, because that's another reason to put it up at the municipal parking lot is sometime in the future, like some of the lower use vehicles.
Like inspectors or...
Inspectors and those things might be worth when it's time
I
to
think-
change them to upgrade.
Well, I think it's an inevitable future that there'll be more and more of this. We've talked about it in the past, and there was one time we were considering going for a grant for the garbage truck, but problem was, this particular program, we had to turn in our garbage truck, which was still relatively new. So we weren't willing to get rid of a garbage truck that we had just purchased.
Is there a reason we've limited?
How about a tank?
Stations, you still have to have charging stations to even consider, doing a,
Well, I think the goal of this, as I understand it, is to get the public ones in motion. We're not foreclosed from down the road adding additional borough-dedicated charging stations. And quite frankly, we may not want to pay the vendor X, we may work out a separate deal for that, so.
So,
Generally, if you buy a electric car, the charging station comes with the car. So I don't know how that would work. If you get electric vehicles down at the DPW, we would probably put in charging stations down there just for those, not for the public. If you go out and you go off the street and you buy an electric vehicle today, it's coming with a charging station. So I would assume that if we buy any vehicles, that would also come with some kind of charging station that we would put somewhere.
Yeah, so I kind of think it's two different things. One would be a dedicated one for borough purposes.
is there a reason we're just limiting it to 4 at the moment?
It was either 4 or 6, right?
It was the proposal that we received, so that's what we started talking about. And, then when they had suggested Borough Hall and Knightsfield, the mayor and I talked about it, I said, well, I think the library would be a good option.
Yeah.
Maybe one here and one there, but it may not be favorable for them to put in just one. I don't know. And for the down the road kind of thing, I'm thinking this is sort of going to be big screen TVs and cell phones. It's going to get a lot cheaper, I'm hoping, as time goes on. And so, we're just going to start small, get on the playing field, because we don't have that right now.
I'm just wondering if in the contract it would be a good idea to say starting with 4 with the possibility of us adding more at a certain point.
You really can't do that in these circumstances. You'd have to go to another RFP. But you can always add on.
what about, business district, what about Main Street development? Because most of the charging issues are range and
The only issue with that is the only public land we own there is the American Legion parking lot at this time. We cannot put one in the middle of the street. We don't, because that's all
It's right away.
private property. I'm thinking 2, 2, and 2 would be ideal. Kind of spreads it out throughout the town at high traffic locations.
Gotta start moving some of the crap out of this parking lot.
We okay with sending out a request for proposal?
Yes.
Max 6?
6.
We'll add something about the standard rate or somewhere around the standard rate. And can we say something that they have to submit what it would look like for approval?
Yes,
Yes.
do that. 6.
What I would suggest is before we do the standard rate, we go over to Town of Flying and see.
Oh, yeah, like, what's the standard rate?
Yeah,
Right.
but let's just look at, eyeball it and see if that's going to work in the location, if they've already gone with this one. And then if that's workable, we could say no larger than. So that will
Right.
kind of, I'm not trying to restrict bidders because more bidders is better. But size-wise, there's a limitation what we can fit at all those locations.
Can vary, and they can be adjusted and
Yeah, I've seen them in the parking lots of malls, and they're relatively
Yeah,
small. They're
right.
smaller than a gas pump,
Yes,
but
much.
they could be bigger.
What is it just a question of design, or does the size of it have an effect on charging
That, I don't
Capacity
know.
and
capacity?
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume the size is a function of just the vendor, whatever they're doing, but
also want to make sure that they include some kind of safety measures, because there's a lot of cables, so that they are not vandalized or become a hazard.
Randy and I will trip over them if possible.
Yeah. If it's there, I will. I'll be so proud.
Good argument.
Now I want to get an electric car.
Anything else on that?
Yeah.
If not, we can move on to schedule updates. Notice how things are getting busier.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, on Wednesday, March 22nd, we'll be having our first Crescent Moonlighting, sponsored by the New Milford Mayor and Council. It'll be at 7 p.m. at the New Milford Borough Hall. It'll be rain or shine, and the moon tree will remain lit through the 22nd through April 21st. On Thursday, March 30th, is
I'm sorry, when is, from when to when?
it's on Wednesday, March 22nd at 7 p.m.
Right, we're talking about the lighting of the moon tree.
That's the lighting of it, at 7 p.m. Wednesday the
From-
22nd.
22nd to...
The 21st of April. Stays up for 1 month. Thursday, March 30th is the New Milford Education Foundation 2023 Gala. You must RSVP by the 15th. Sponsored by the New Milford Ed Foundation. It is at 7 p.m. at Il Villaggio in Carlstadt. For more information, just go to the New Milford Ed Foundation's website. Saturday, April 1st is the annual Easter egg hunt, sponsored by New Milford Recreation. It is at 10 a.m. and there is a new location this year, which is Knights Field, which is between the high school and the ShopRite. There is no rain date. More information can be found on the New Milford Rec website. And it's for children up to 5th grade. So Randy cannot go get eggs. Also on Saturday, April 1st is the New Milford High School Athletic Boosters Pancake Breakfast, sponsored by the New Milford High School Athletic Boosters. It is from 8 to 12 in the morning at the New Milford High School cafeteria. There is no rain date. For more information, just go to their website. So the breakfast will start
Okay.
while it's the first.
The same.
While the Easter egg is happening
Oh,
at
okay.
Knights Field, they'll have the Booster Pancake Breakfast. This way there's crossover traffic and everyone maximizes the amount of people,
Oh,
which is good.
sugar overload.
Yes. So why is there syrup all over the field? Okay, was there any other events that I failed to mention from any of your? No? Okay.
Ramadan.
That was the first
That was the first one.
Oh, the question.
So item number 3 tonight is the Budget Committee report/update, and that would be the Administrator and Councilman Grotzky.
So the Budget Committee met with the auditor to review the draft budget, and we discussed potential cuts that could be made. And the auditor has suggested that we wait to introduce the budget until we have a better idea from the state as to what aid that can be expected. So we were originally talking about introducing at the end of this month at our next meeting, and he's strongly suggested that we give it some time. That's it. Did you want to add anything, Ira?
No, I believe we got an additional 11,000.
Yes, and discretionary aid. There was, I think that, there was a total of $9 million additional aid that was going out to municipalities, and for us it turned out to be an additional $11,000 of the aid that we know about to date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nine mil would have been better, but.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll make it 500,000.
Anything else for the
Have
budget?
have you completed the budget, drafting the budget?
No.
When can we expect that?
Well, I mean, we could share what we have now, but we're waiting on a couple of other things before we make some final recommendations about how we want to move forward. We're looking at, all the possible ways that we can keep the increase, as low as possible.
When do you think you'll know?
I mean, at this point, we're actually waiting for, what Steve had said, to wait a little while to see what comes from the state.
That's a game changer. Any additional money from the state?
Depends how much it is, if it's a game changer or not, but, all right.
Well,
I mean, I just
the
want to have some
downside,
time to review the budget carefully before we end up having to.
you're not going to have to rush it through. If you recall what happened with COVID, is we got COVID relief from the federal government. At that time, we had also gotten the recommendation from the auditor to hold on the budget. I think we went in around the end of April when that came in, and it did make a significant impact. He's hoping there'll be a similar circumstance, but right now it's anybody's guess what the state's going to do. I spoke to Steve about another issue probably after Ira and Chris spoke to him, and he said just you have to hold it because, this is a usual component of your budget that's just an unknown, and it will be known probably after April. So, and then we're introducing the ordinary course.
I mean, I can certainly share, the draft that we have that shows the recommended appropriations for all of the departments. What we're trying to figure out is what will be there to offset those appropriations. That's where we still have a question mark.
So it's incomplete at this point?
Yes.
It's not incomplete except for the money that you might be getting.
Send a copy. Just
So, yeah, that would
send
be
a
good.
copy.
Thank you.
You direct all questions to Ira.
Text them.
Anything else for the budget committee? Okay. Moving on to our administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, mandatory annual cybersecurity training is underway for all borough employees and board members that have borough email addresses. Particularly, we're having issues with planning and zoning board members who have not completed the training. I've sent out reminders to everybody and hopeful that this round of reminders will, but if you can, please remind them at your meetings that it's mandatory. And which brings me to the elected officials training for the JIF that some have to complete. If you take that training, you'll see that cybersecurity is a hot button for joint insurance money.
We have to hand in the certificates of billing.
You don't have to hand them in, but I would like to know that when you tell me you completed it, just so I can verify that they have given us the credit.
And I would recommend you hang on to it.
Yes.
I didn't get a
In
certificate
electronic
from the
form.
last one I did.
Well, it doesn't happen automatically. If you go
Okay.
back into my completed training, there's a link that
You probably have a bunch of certificates sitting there that you never printed.
Yeah, you have to actually.
Or you can download them.
Yeah.
Well, they send me an email saying, thank you for completing it.
Right.
So,
You have a folder there. It says my completed training. And you don't realize how smart you are. after all these years. There's little bunch of certificates there.
I did all.
But for the GIF one, you're good, and I'm good, because we did it at the league.
I think I did it online. Can you check? I think I did it.
I'll check.
We did it in person.
I know you did it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you got my note.
Mhm. Okay, the bid opening for the community development Ballard Drive road resurfacing, which is to run from 265 Ballard Drive to Bulger Avenue, is scheduled for Tuesday, March 21st, with anticipating the award of the project expected on March 27th. The updated borough website is set to launch later this week. Very excited to report. It's very different from our current website, and I think everybody will find it to be very user-friendly. And our next meeting is scheduled for 2 weeks from tonight, March 27th. That's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the administrator? Okay. Resolutions. Has everyone had a chance to review the resolutions? Are there any that need to be pulled for further comment and/or discussion?
Can we undertake an add-on resolution to allow for closed, discuss legal contract issues, which just came up tonight?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So resolution 2023:97, I'm just going to call closed.
Closed session, legal
Closed session.
dash contract.
Legal dash contract. Okay. Okay, before I open up to the public, we're going to go around real quick, give a highlight, and we're going to start with Councilman Grazzi.
Thank you, Mayor. Shade Tree Commission is still working on updating the shade tree ordinance. We've been going back and forth with council, and we're making progress. Hopefully by next meeting, we might have something to discuss.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Seymour.
I have nothing tonight except to let everyone know that the registration for recreation and sports has closed.
Councilwoman Sandy.
The Environmental Commission is still making headway with the environmental resource inventory. The contractor, the consultant has handed in maps, and Kelly Lawrence, a teacher at the new Milford High School, and students have been working on data bird collection, bird identifying.
Oh.
Yep, bird identification data. And then they're going to be on Tuesday, March 21st, Elaine Silverstein, who's a founding member of the Native Plant Society of New Jersey, Bergen County chapter, is coming to do a site walk to discuss a site plan with the Environmental Commission
Where is that?
at the Pine Avenue.
And what day?
That's Tuesday, March 21st, 4 p.m.
A site plan for
for the native plant urban rain garden, that giant monster title.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, March 21st, 4 p.m. We're going to meet at Washington Avenue. It's that Pine Avenue, Washington Avenue, native plant garden site, right next to the Hirschville Brook. So that's going to be getting some specs, some suggestions.
And who pays for that?
This is a site walk.
Who pays her?
She is volunteering her time for this.
Okay. She's from where?
The Native Plant Society of New Jersey, Bergen County chapter.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
So we're just gonna.
Be interesting her input on, type of plants.
What do you plant where they're going to get flooded?
Water plants.
Yep.
I would take
Lily pads.
I would take the first thing and just plant. Yeah, it's great. Plant it.
And I have
Frogs.
one more thing to share that our neighbors in Oradell have invited us. They're working on a public art project So this is, again, with the Northern New Jersey Community Foundation in partnership with the Oradell municipality. Wednesday, March 29th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Oradell Borough Hall on the top floor. They are inviting people to come tell their flood stories. So they're going to do a workshop to share your flood story and create a quilt square for the public artwork, Flood Theater. So there's information.
That's depressing.
It's public artwork to raise awareness about the flooding along the Hackensack River. So
Raise awareness by,
about flooding
among
along
whom?
the Hackensack
By whom? I suggested that they contact Matt about that.
Yeah,
And you committed.
send that to Matt so he can distribute to
It
the full
already
committee?
has an email.
Okay.
It's already
Yes.
done.
Thank you.
So they are going to do, they have an installation planned over by the Oradell train station as well, so we'll be seeing lots of things happening down there.
Okay.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I really don't have anything to discuss except for our May, at the monument. Wait.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, thank you. We knew we had a holiday coming up. Other than that, nothing else at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. The Friends of the Library is planning an antiques appraisal event in April. I'll give you the date, I don't recall it offhand. You'll be able to have one item appraised for $5 or three for $10. And it should be, we've done this before,
Yeah.
but not for a while, and it's a fun event. And the Bergen County Planning Board is discussing the proposed county master plan at its meeting at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and the commissioners are discussing it on Wednesday at their 7 o'clock meeting. And the public is welcome at either of those, attend either of those meetings or both.
When is this date, the antique
In
appraisal?
April.
In April?
I want to bring my Mickey Mantle card.
Oh, nice.
The Mickey Mantle card?
Yeah.
It's probably worth a few dollars.
Did any of Trump's new cards, Superman cards?
Ew.
Superhero cards?
Comic books.
Trump.
Oh,
Councilwoman Duffy. Council President Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. The Board of Health met last week, and the Mid-Bergen group announced that they received a very sizable grant, and with the help of this grant money, they will be providing our board with a consultant to help us review, to identify what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what can we do to, like if we have a project that we would like to introduce to the public, this consultant will be available to help us do that. So that was a pretty exciting announcement by Mid-Bergen. Our new public health nurse has been in a couple of weeks now, and she's getting to know the lay of the land, cleaning out files. She announced to the board she found a 30-year-old death certificate in the bottom of a cabinet. So the cabinets needed to be cleaned out, so she's taking care of that, which is really, really good. Let's see, we have a new member on the board, Eileen DeBarry, who also sits on the Senior Center Advisory Board, and she and our Mid-Bergen rep will be coordinating the, what am I trying to say, the resuscitation.
CPR.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, brain fart. So they're going to coordinate that effort, whether it be open to the public or to just certain organizations. So we'll be moving forward on
I
that.
would think that everybody for the rec department would want to know.
They already have it. They already do it. Yeah, yeah. We did have, just for your knowledge, we did have two members of, two residents come to our board and ask us about keeping backyard chickens. So it's something on the radar right now. Presently, our ordinance does not allow that, and we will move forward with discussion if need be. So that's my report.
I just checked the date for the antiques appraisal, and it will be on April 22nd from 10:30 to 1:30.
Sounds like fun.
It has been in the past. No reason to think it won't be this time.
Okay, last week I attended the historic Newbridge Landing State Park Commission meeting. The two things they have going on is they're continuing with their plans and the development of their museum barn, which will go on the property. That is being mostly funded by the Bergen County Society. And the second thing is that Bergen County is actually, they're going to be doing a lot of, I think they're replacing the roof of the Campbell Christie house, which is important to us because that is a Milford house that was moved there. So there was some discussions about slope, color, and just some angles, but they're going to move forward with that. I wanted to give a shout out to the New Milford High School Marching Band for marching in the Bergenfield St. Patrick's Day Parade, and following them was a New Milford fire truck with Mr. Stormer in it, so everything was good.
Good.
Shout out to them.
That's good.
I want to give a shout out to the Drake Foundation. They had a wonderful event at the Elks Club. It was very well attended. A lot of fundraising for the foundation, which gives scholarships to students for trade schools. And it was basically a celebration of the Darren Drake Act, which had passed the Senate and the Congress, and is going to become law. So we're all happy about that. I just wanted to remind people that right now, predictions are all over the place, but we may be getting some rain, some snow. So I want everyone to be careful. If you live in a flood-prone area, please be responsible. Take the appropriate measures as you see fit. And just keep an eye out for notifications from the county. And
your
us.
car in the street.
Yes. And I want to wish everyone a St. Patty's Day on Friday.
Right.
Everyone's Irish that day. So
Let's not forget the Empty Bowls event that was last Friday night.
that was also a wonderful event.
Which was fabulous.
They raised
And
nearly
almost
$3,000 for our food
pantry.
pantry, which was great.
Yeah, excellent.
The bowls were awesome. The
Yes,
soup was awesome, all done by high school students. And it was
The event gets better every year.
every year.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So they've added music now. So now, it's just getting better. And whoever was playing was
The guitarist
great.
is wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sponsored by New Milford High School.
New Milford High School is through the art department and their culinary,
Well,
I don't know if it's called a department, but
Lauren Bettini Venezia is the head of it.
yes.
So she's an art teacher there.
It was cool. Very cool. And that's all I have. At this time, I would ask for a motion to open to the public.
So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing that there are no members of the public present, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt resolutions 2023:91 through 2023:97. 97 is the one we added. Closed session, legal/contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us. We are going into closed session. When we adjourn from closed session, no action will be taken, and we will immediately adjourn this meeting. So thank you very much. Enjoy, and please be safe, and keep your ear open with the storms coming. Thank you. Oh, I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Can we take it? We good?